Hey everyone, my name is Taryn and thank you so much for stopping by my channel today, Nicole Flower House. I grow cut flowers here in Eastern North Carolina in Zone 7B, and today is the day that I am planting tulips. I have all of my tulips here in the crates behind me, so that's what's going into the ground. And I am doing the no-till method by Jennie Love, Love and Fresh Flowers. I'm really excited about that. I do not want to dig trenches, so we are doing her method. I am going to do a couple things a little bit different. She and a lot of growers that do the no-till will make raised beds with like a temporary piece of lumber as the sides of the bed. I'm not going to do that, mostly because I don't have any lumber and I don't want to buy any. Also, it's really heavy to move around by yourself, and I'm going to be planting these bulbs on my own. I've been doing research about raised bed farming. It's different than raised bed gardening, and I didn't really know that when I first started. So you can make raised beds without garden boxes. What they're talking about is raising the level of soil so that your plants sit just above ground level, but their roots are still able to get down into the native soil. As long as my tulip bulbs are about ground level, maybe an inch or two higher, because we get so much rain here in Eastern North Carolina over the winter especially, so I need to make sure that they're a little bit above ground level. And then I'll put some compost on top. And then on top of my compost, I have leaf mulch. And what I've been reading is I think it's more important that the roots get down into native soil for growing, and what you put on top of the tulips isn't as important. As long as your compost isn't warm or hot or still composting, it doesn't really matter too much. I've seen people use straw and hay and other materials, so I'm going to do a small layer of compost because compost is really expensive to bring in. And then on top of that, I'm going to do leaf mulch. And the leaf mulch I didn't make myself. I also purchased that and it was delivered. Let me show you that real quick. Here in the front here is all the compost that I had delivered. It's a very nice product here. And then behind it, back here, this is all the leaf mulch. So I will start out with compost for a thin layer and then go to leaf mulch. And the goal is to get 6 to 8 inches of compost and mulch on top of the tulip bulbs to get the nice stem length that you want. And since they're not dug into the ground, they should be really easy to pull up in the spring. Also, since I'm a more southern grower, I had my bulbs pre-chilled by the company for me, and it was a flat rate. I really appreciate that I'm able to do that. I get all of my tulips from Color Blends. This video is not sponsored or anything, it's just who I've always used. I really like them. I'm looking into more wholesale options maybe. I did officially start my business and I have my tax ID number and sales and use tax number and all that stuff, but I haven't crossed that bridge yet as far as like purchasing things wholesale. But Color Blends has good prices, and so that is where I'm getting my tulips for right now. Here are my tags for all my varieties. I went ahead and made these out in advance. These are just jumbo popsicle sticks that I got off of Amazon. I will link those below. It's an affiliate link if you're interested in these. I'm moving away from putting any kind of plastic markers in the garden just because they disintegrate and get mixed into my soil. So these will not last very long, hopefully through the spring, and that's all I need them to last for. And this is what I'll be using. Okay, so this is working out exactly how I want it to. At first, I didn't move the mulch out of the way, but once I started moving it to the sides, I was like, okay, this is going to help me because it created kind of a berm that I could put the tulips down into, and then it's kind of holding that compost in a nice flat layer. And then once I get enough compost to barely cover up the bulbs, I'll just add more mulch to the top to get that 6 to 8 inch layer that I need for the stem length on the tulips. Okay, so like here's the tulips there. There is a good like 3-inch wall of mulch. And when I fill the compost in, it just goes right up to the edge of that in a nice flat layer. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this covered in the compost layer. I don't know how far I'll get today before it gets dark, but I will do compost and then mulch over this, and I'll take you through it when I'm done. All right, this is what we're looking like with just the compost layer. Looks pretty good. This is probably 3 to 4 inches deep, so I'm going to add the mulch layer on top of this. You can see I have one eucalyptus there that survived from last season, so I'm just gonna mulch right around it and leave it in place. All right, now I have the mulch layer on here. It probably looks very similar, but you can see this is a good 8 inches deep on here. I'm really liking the way that this looks, and I'm hopeful that the Til Tulip method will work for me. Minus the lumber or edges on my beds, I just made sure to pile this nice and high. I also did not put tulips all the way to the edge of this. There's a good 3 inches on each side to account for the slope in the mulch in the soil. So this first bed right here is where I worked today. I got about 1/3 of the way through my tulips. So I am anticipating needing about 2 more of these rows here. I was hoping to get them all into 2 rows, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need 3. So I will get working on that tomorrow and update you.